live in Now group, which is here we are now. We are now live in the Now Facebook group. So hello, everybody. Now, I know there isn't anybody there now, but you will catch up because we all know my guest speaker for today, Amy. Hi, Amy.
Hi. Hello. Hello, everyone.
So welcome for anybody who's watching now or on replay or any old time. And this is my 40th episode of being here live. And Amy, did you not just tell me something there about being 40?
Oh yes, it's my 40th year. I'm turning 40 in July. So that's very apt that this is your 40th interview. How exciting.
It is, isn't it? It is absolutely wonderful. So why am I here every single day in the Now group? For anybody who doesn't know, I am carrying out 100 days of Facebook Lives with It's All About You, which is with someone who is a member in the Now group. And it's a fabulous way for you to be able to come on here with me if you're a little bit nervous maybe with being on a Facebook Live or any kind of live. Because as I keep saying, going live is the way to be for people to see you. And today we have Amy in her art studio. And isn't it beautiful? You can see the back of the studio there. This is where she goes and she escapes. This much I know because Amy does tell me these things. Yeah. So let us go over to Amy and let's find out, Amy, who you are and what do you do?
Hi, Lindsay. Thanks so much for this opportunity to go live. It's very exciting. I'm an artist. I went to art college and I studied sculpture actually. And for the last 15 years, I've been painting. I turned to painting when I left art college because I realized that installational sculpture wasn't something that I'd be able to continue doing all my life. So I did really enjoy art college, but since art college, I went traveling and I went to China and I discovered how to paint in China. And I really got so obsessed that I'm still doing it 15 years later, which is, a testament to the skills there. So you really build them up over the years. But really what I do these days is I paint paintings for people when they're looking for something special, to remember a special moment in their life, or maybe for a special person, for a special occasion. I put my artwork into exhibitions around Scotland, and I've been as far as San Francisco and Falmouth in the south of England, and various art shows around Britain. So really I've exhibited quite widely. But these days I'm sort of turning my skills to being more of an independent artist. And that means, hang on.
I've known Amy for at least a couple of years now, and do you know something? Her personality never changes. You're always this exuberant and happy-go-lucky person when you're in my company.
So, yeah. Well, I have health issues as well. So one of the things I realized that over the years I was doing a part-time job, and I was doing several part-time jobs for a few years, and then I started networking with the hope to be able to go full-time in what I do. But I've always run 2 part-time businesses on the side. So my art is one of my businesses, and also I've got a letting agency as my other business, and I think that sort of keeps me afloat and gives me a bread and butter income every month, which means that since I dropped my other part-time job, I've been able to sort of retreat to my studio and paint here on a daily basis. And I just love it because I think once you're doing it as a daily practice, then it becomes more of a habit and you really develop new skills, and it really helps. So I've noticed certainly that I become more regular with what I'm doing, and I find that creativity is something that everybody can use. And I think it's really important, whether you're telling your children or just you have no children and you're doing it for yourself, you can enjoy doodling or painting as a creative release. And I think that's really healthy, and it can be a wonderful escapism and brilliant for the mind, and it helps calm you down really quickly. And that's why I like it. So I've found that in my health problems, I discover that I just love to paint, and it takes me away from my problems, and it lets me just be happy and exist with my art. So So my top tip is, especially with dealing with children, is you never tell children that they're no good. You never tell children, don't worry about going outside the lines. I see some parents going, oh, you've got to make sure you draw within the lines. And frankly, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The only important thing with children is to never tell them they're not an artist. As soon as you tell them they're not an artist or not creative, or not any good at it, they will stop doing it. And that's the end. So I've noticed this happen with my daughter every now and again. She might compare herself to somebody else, another cousin or something, and she'll be like, oh, I don't know whether I can do that. And then I go, no, let's go do some painting. And then we come back to what we love to do, which is just making a mess. And we have a great time. And we did a lovely collaboration last week when she was off sick on the Monday. And it's just amazing to see how children are so intuitive with their art. So I'm quite keen to get into a bit more teaching once I'm through all my health problems and back to full strength. I'm looking at maybe doing a course, whether it's for adults or children, I'm not quite sure yet. But yes, so that's the plan.
Well, I know that you and I, Amy, have got plans for now, which is another meeting. I know there's just going to be 3 sort of meetings, but this is going to be Now Creative. And Amy has already been very much a part of Now for these last 2 years. And we've already carried out a dabbling in paint, have we not? Already.
Yes.
So that's what we're doing. Just dabbling in paint with Amy when that comes out, Creative Now. So if going back to children, does a parent need any special equipment to say to a child, let's go and paint? What?
Well, I think some of the things I've picked up over the years is what it is wonderful to do. You don't really need special equipment, but what you need to do if you want your children to do some art is buy them some materials and buy them some paper that isn't just going to fall apart. You don't want to use computer paper all the time. It's much better if you can give kids the experience of using other materials. So you could buy them some a sketchbook with nice paper inside it, so they can keep a track of what they're doing, and then they find a new page and fill it in and color it in and do whatever they like. My daughter likes to have a sketchbook, and I find when they have access to art materials, they're more likely to give it a go and do whatever they like. And so I have a good range of pens, scissors, pencils, and I have all my art studio up here as well. So downstairs in the house, we have a craft corner for the kids, and upstairs, up here, I have all my things, and I let my kids have a go. Usually under supervision, but I let them have a go, and we get messy with my paint and my inks. And I've always let my daughter have a go with that. And I noticed when she was 2, it was very messy, and Hunter would come along at age 4 and paint her, and then she'd paint the canvas. But these days, she'll come in and she'll take a few of my paint pots and start painting something. And she's much more deliberate about what she's doing now. And she doesn't make a mess. In fact, she makes less mess than I do because she's learned how to do it, which is amazing. So I just think, I think it's a bit sad when you come across a family and all they have is a bit of notepaper. So what you can do to provide for your children's creativity is to give them big pieces of paper. You can just get wallpaper. It doesn't have to be fancy paper. You like just lining paper is brilliant. You just cut off a big piece and then they can go crazy, and there's no borders, so they don't stop, and it just it fills the page. And once you've learned to fill the page, then it just keeps growing. So I think that's the best thing you can do for your kids, is just to have a few larger pieces of art materials and get a few brushes. And the paint colors you always need are the primary colors plus white. You don't need black.
All right. You
just don't. It's fun to use black sometimes, but you just don't need black, because you can make black yourself by mixing all the colors together, and it comes out a darker color.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What, you'd buy tubes or pots of water paint?
Well, I anything really. I let my girl play with my watercolors. I let her play with my gouache, and I also have her poster paint downstairs, but she much prefers my inks, of course.
And of course, with children too, and with yourself, with mental health, working with paints, working with art materials, you've got textures, haven't you? Which again
Yeah.
works at making you just.
Yeah, I think it can ground you very, very quickly. And so if you're feeling stressed, you can paint something and very quickly become absorbed in what you're doing, and it can make you feel enormously better in a short space of time. It's like putting on your favorite piece of music and having good dance around the room. I find the same thing with my art. I would go and do some painting and I feel an instant sense of sort of relaxation and calm. And I just, you just let your mind go free and
Yeah.
just doodle and paint and experiment. And it's all about just experimenting. Yeah.
So we're still talking about your art, but I have my question. It's wonderful. I love art, and it is so good. So the question is, where did you grow up, and I mean, did it shape you as a person?
I think so. So I've had a quick think about this question. I grew up in Edinburgh, but because my dad, we have a family connection to Argyll. So I've got this painting in the background here, which is the Pax of Jura. And just opposite this view is where our house is. So that is like my go-to painting. When I'm over there, I paint the Paps, and every time it's different. So I've got two, that's my spiritual home, Argyll, which is very rural. It's in the middle of nowhere, 20 minutes down the end of a road. You get there, there's just a few houses there. There's lots of sheep and there's a farmer, and you run out and you're free. So I had a childhood that was very free, and we just explored the land and went find the crystal cave, or went out on the boat, or fishing, or rock pooling, or whatever. That was my existence in the summer times, and that's what I just loved. I could have done that. I would love to go and live there now, to be honest, but it's very isolated. So I live in Edinburgh. I grew up in Edinburgh, and I went to school in Edinburgh. And I think the culture of Edinburgh really shaped me, because I'm a musician and I'm an artist, and I do all these cultural activities, and I love going to the opera and the ballet and the art galleries, and I couldn't live without it. So I'm a bit like my mum in that sense, is that you really struggle to move somewhere really rural because you love to go out to see culture, and when that's not available, like it wouldn't be terribly available in Argyll, you really miss it. So I do love Edinburgh for the cultural input and all the different things and all the arts that are available, because when you're an artist, and if you're advising your teenage child about going to art college, that's fantastic, but the best thing to do is get them to go to as much cultural events as possible across all the arts, whether it's ballet or art galleries or just everything. So you want to soak up as much culture as you can when you're going into the arts, because then it's all informing what your work is, and I think it's a big community, and once you look at it like that, then you can really develop your art. So that's my top tip to teenagers who want to go to art colleges. By all means, say yes, do it, but make sure you get the arts in your education, and make sure you have a good think about what kind of business you can run with your art.
Yes. And being in Edinburgh, there's lots of free places that we can go. What is your favourite one where you like to go that doesn't cost anything?
I really like all the national galleries are brilliant, because they all have free exhibitions. So you can just pop in and go to the portrait gallery, or you can pop in and go and see the modern art gallery, and have a run around with the kids on the lawn in the front of the art gallery. So that's probably one of my favourite places. My other favourite gallery is the City Art Centre, because it's usually full of like modern art, and it's free to enter usually. They might have a special exhibition on. Everywhere usually has a paid exhibition. So you can pay to go in, but there's usually a free section as well. So soaking up all of that stuff is really important.
Yes, and where's the City Art Centre? Where's that?
It's just opposite the Waverley train station. So is it Market Street?
I've not seen it. I must have a look when I go out.
So you come out the back of the Waverley, and you cross over to the side near Jeffrey Street, and it's just at the bottom, where Jeffrey Street goes up to the Royal Mile. The City Art Centre is a huge 5-storey building on Market Street, which is just at the back entrance of the Waverley station. So
I'm with you. I remember going many months ago to a Star Trek exhibition, so I know exactly where you are. Well, Amy, thank you so much for that. That's lots and lots of information, and your exuberance. I love your yellow top. It's just what we need on these really dark, wintry days. And it's
Yes.
wonderful to see you. And if you're in the Now group, you will most definitely see Amy out and about, whether it's at our meetings, whether it's within the group itself, or whether it's just a chat. She's absolutely wonderful to be around, I have to say that. So thank you, Amy.
My last thing I wanted to say was that I do have an art group on Facebook, so you can come along and join my art group and watch me paint. I do. I put time lapses up, and also I've got a studio sale on this month, so I am going through my folder and picking some of my very treasured artworks from the last 15 years and releasing them for sale, because I need to release my babies into the world.
Well, that's right, because we all need to share them.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
thank you, Amy, and thank you, everybody in Now, for being here and watching in whichever way you are doing this. And I know that you would have got something out of today's, out of, in fact, every single broadcast, because we as members, we've got so much to offer everyone, and we do that willingly. So I'm going to love you, leave you, everybody in Now, and it's goodbye from me.
And bye from me too.
Catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.